Hello and welcome to another video here at Rule 1. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Train Tech PC1 single point DCC controller. This is a DCC accessory unit there with a CDU attached and some outputs for some points. Well, one set of points to be exact. I wanted to look up this unit online before I bought it and found out there were absolutely no reviews on this, YouTube or otherwise, so this will be the first one, I believe, on this product. Now, it's made in Great Britain. That's actually at the moment a brilliant plus point, and counts quite highly towards Train Tech there, because other manufacturers, I'm finding it very, very difficult to get hold of their products if they're being made in China, as they're just not being shipped over at the moment. With Train Tech, on the other hand, you can almost guarantee they have a constant supply of units, so that goes to them, points to them. There we go, so hands free now, put the camera down, we'll open it and have a look at what comes inside the box. So the unit itself looks quite nice and compact. There. I was worried when I was looking through the packaging, you can only see this side. You can't see the other side. This soothes my worries. It tells you what each input is for, and I won't have to wonder what I'm doing as much. It's a lot easier there. So you've got communicator 1, common, and 2. DCC. In and out, so that's the power, and the learn button. So learn there, I'd assume, is what we're going to use. Press that button, then send the command from the DCC module under what number I want it addressed, and I assume that gives it an address. We'll have a look in the instructions. Let's see, just 2 wires to nearest track, or DCC lines, good. Easy screw terminals, good. Synchronized to other signals or points, so basically you can give them all the same address and they'll change together. What else have we got? Let's have a look. So we can see there's quite a comprehensive set of instructions, and it shows you exactly how to connect it for different brands as well. So we'll be using it on this one, on our Pico PL10Es. That one will work nicely. It's quite an easy piece of instruction with the DCC in. And that DCC in, those two, right there. If you can see that, those two, for the power. Setting the point address, so it even has an LED on it. So there's an LED just there. Don't know if you can see that. It's a little yellow looking item on the board. There's an LED. Okay, yep. So I just read that. That will light when we're programming, and I will show you doing that as I'm installing it in a moment. So this is the point we're going to be installing it on. It's actually an afterthought at this point, I just installed it. I decided to have a bay platform on my branch line off of the main lines, which comes off from up there, just to add some more operational interest. As you can see, up this end of the layout, really it's the only set of points on this baseboard especially, but the next nearest set is up there, and they've already got a different unit installed on those. So this unit here, just for 1 point on the one baseboard here, is absolutely ideal for what we're after. And at this moment in time, I do believe it's the only unit that only does 1 point, and it's very, very compact. I'm very impressed with how small it is compared to other manufacturers' offerings, of which I will just show you a size comparison. So for a size comparison, you can see the DCC concepts 2 output point decoder, and comparing it to this one, if I hold it up next to it, this is much smaller and will fit in a much more confined space, as you can see there. So, also another point I wanted to make on it, do you see the terminals on the DCC Concepts units are actually incredibly small. You can't really get a large gauge wire in there, specifically one if you're trying to power it off the DCC bus. I've actually had to split them down slightly to fit into that unit, whereas on the Train Tech one, if I come out a bit, you can see the terminals are actually much bigger in comparison. You will be able to fit in a larger gauge wire there compared to the DCC Concepts, and it's going to be much easier to wire up. So that I'm looking forward to, and we'll see how that goes. So the equipment we're going to need to install a DCC points decoder onto the layout is the black wire for the DCC bus to power it, the red wire. Those are quite thick gauges because they've got quite a large layout. It needs to be able to carry a lot of voltage around, current around. And I have DCC Concepts point accessory decoder wire specifically for the points CDUs and motors. It comes in red, black, just as the manufacturers intend the point motors to be wired. I have also got flux, solder, lead-based solder, it's much better than the other stuff, and soldering iron. We have DCC Concepts again, you can tell I'm a fan of some of their items. Wire stripper, that's a very good wire stripper. You can get some equivalent in your electronic superstores. You get good quality one, it will last you a long time. And I have some Xeron cutters just in case I need them to cut the wires in any tight to get situations. And of course your DCC accessory decoder for points specifically. This one here, as I say, has a CDU on it, so it will provide a nice jolt of power ready to switch the points. You will also require 2 screws, they don't come with the unit. I thought I'd best mention that there in case you get the unit and forget the screws, otherwise it's another trip back out to the shops, which at this current time you don't really need. But I'm going to show you now how to install the unit. So I've decided to install the unit on the baseboard here, on the underside, and I'm just going to use some self-tapping screws. That should be good enough. He says there we are. And thankfully it's such a small unit, it fits in where I've already installed other things. I think that's a brilliant bonus of this one. So that's installed now. And now to get some power off of my main DCC bus, make sure that your system is turned off before you touch this. So these are my power cables. We're actually going to just splice into those for ease. So that's 1 and 2. And the way this works, it pulls the sheathing out of the way on the wires so that I can now solder directly to them, which is really, really handy. Although I have just pulled one of the terminals out of the block, so I'm just going to screw that one back in before I commence any further, because that was clever of me. Just like that. And also, just a quick hint or tip there is when you are splicing into wires, make sure that they're a gap away from each other. If they're close to each other, you may run the risk that it shorts your layout. Obviously I'll be covering these over, but it's better to have them far away than it is on top of each other. So I've just taken the end off of that. What I'm going to do with this, so the cover off of that, I'm going to wrap that around the part that I've taken off. Just like that. And I'm going to get some flux. I'm going to put it in all the crevices and on top of the silver part there. And I'm going to solder that to that cable. It should take about a few seconds, if that. That's it. So that in soldered. Now I'll put the black one on. So this one is nice and tight now. We'll do the same on the black. Okay, I'm twisting the end. I forgot to mention that. Twist the strands together. Then I wraps it around. In such a way that it won't come undone. Now I'm going to solder together. Again, some flux on the join, around the crevices, put the bits I've done up together, and then get your iron and your solder, and solder away. Now the way I do it does end up with big joins, but it's always incredibly strong after I've done it this way, so I don't really mind. And I'll just cover it up after. There. So that's them soldered. And that one's now on nice and tight, just like that. I'll cover those with some electrical tape after. First, I'm going to cut the wires at the right length. So it needs to go in there, so I shall cut here. And I'm going to do the same for the black one. And I'm going to take off the ends on them. Just like that, nice and easy. And now I'm going to need my small watch style flathead screwdriver to undo the terminals on this unit, ready to accept the cable. Have to line them up as well. In it goes. Screw it in. This one. Now do the other. Again, twist the ends, the strands. Got my screwdriver ready to tighten. And stick that cable in the terminal. There, that's that one done. Now, I need to get my other three wired onto the points, so I'm going to unravel the ends of that. So we've got three that separate out. I'm going to take the strand ends off of them. And I'm going to put those now into those terminals. So the two red ones go on the outer two, and the black one will go in between of the three remaining terminals. I've lost my screwdriver. There it is. This one. Two. And three. Cables installed. All three of those are in nice and tight. Now to install onto the point motor. Move that out of the way. So the wiring for your points to go on your Pico motor, if you're a Pico one, two red ones go on a terminal, one on one side, one on the other, of the same side that is, and then on the other side, so the other PCB strip, you wire the black one between both of them back to your CDU point accessory decoder. So I'm just going to cut the cables now at the right lengths. And then solder onto the correct points on that unit. So you notice I've got three different lengths wires there to make sure they're all the correct length, exactly to where I'm wiring them to. So flux the end of that one and get a bit of solder on the iron. And we'll solder that one to the first terminal on this side of the PCB. That's that one done. Now we do the next one, the next red one. Again, more flux, just going to pop the end of the pot on there. Soldering iron, more solder, some on the iron again, and we're now going to solder that one. And I'll give you a close-up shot of this when it's done. Now for the black one, I need to put in two bits, two strips. So I'm going to strip in the middle of the wire where the first contact goes on the point motor, and then the second one. Now I have enough space to do both of them on that wire. And a bit more solder on the iron, and we'll do that one. Need more solder for the second one. I thought I'd get away with it, but didn't. We'll try again. There. And here's your close-up view as promised. Where are you? There you are. So as you can see there, you have the two red ones going to each of the terminals on the front of it on one PCB from there, from the unit, and on the back we have the one black wire going across both of the terminals on the back, and that acts as our return. Real focus. And back to the unit again. And that's it for wiring. I shall now show you how to program that onto your DCC system. As you can see there, it's allowed me to power up the system, so everything appears to be wired in correctly. There's no shorts. Now we'll have a look at the programming. Right, so on my system, to output the number, I've called this point number 36 because it is number 36 of 36. I've added my new branch in there into the bay platform. But as you can see there, that's working, but we're not getting any point action yet. So if we go over to the points, what we need to do is press that learn button and hold it for a few seconds, and then come back to the computer terminal. So, looking underneath, if I hold down that learn button just there, you can now see a different flashing of the LED. That confirms to me that the point decoder is now in learn mode, and all I need to do is flick that there. So I just flick the point, come back and press that learn mode button again. That's it. So it's got the red. That should now power that point. So let's see what it does. It did. And I'm going to put this camera facing my point, because I can't actually be in two places at once. So you can have a look there whilst I flick the switch, and we'll see if that works. There we go, so we now have working point motor, and it is flicking successfully all the way across. So success, that's how to install a DCC accessory point motor unit. Thank you very much for watching. If you've liked the video, do please subscribe and like. And if you want to ask any more questions, please do leave a comment down below. I will do my best to answer each and every question I get thoroughly. Thank you very much. Take care.